All right, what's up, guys? So periodically, I get messages from people that followed my YouTube channel, specifically the duck hunting projects that I did in recent years, and people are basically like, "Hey, where are things at? Are you making progress?" So I feel some obligation here to kind of give you an update. The short answer is, I think I've kind of talked about this. Like, my life has just gotten so busy the last number of years. Basically, kind of around the time I started doing these projects, I ended up having a couple kids. Then in 2020, my wife and I moved onto this 35-acre horse farm that needed all kinds of work. So I've been doing that. And then this year, at the beginning of 2023, I quit my job and started my own business. So between those three things, I've just been slammed, and my duck hunting projects have really gotten backburned. But things have still kind of progressed, albeit slowly, and I saw some fresh aerial photography or aerial photos that I wanted to share with you that I think maybe will tie you over at least into next year. So stick around. All right, guys, let me just start by showing you some fresh aerial photography on the big project that I've been working on our hunting land in central Minnesota. Now, honestly, I basically made no progress in 2023. I just didn't have time to get up there. But these pictures show me that we are moving in the right direction and this thing is working. So let me just give you a brief recap on this whole project. All right. So down here, this is tillable acreage. And what we're looking at between these red lines, this is like an 80-acre parcel that the family owns. There's also another piece to the south. But the idea is this tillable acreage, it's sloped. It's sloped from the top of the screen to the bottom of the screen. So everything drains down to where you can see water. So what I did was I basically built this dam right here to capture water. So the concept is plant a food plot down here and then capture water on it or pump water on it or put water on it somehow so you got, hopefully great duck hunting. Now I built this, the idea is there's a whole system here. If we look to the north, there's this huge wetland. It looks dark in here because it's springtime, and again, this thing's just plump full of water because of all the snow melt. Now, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So it's cool. I mean, this will serve as a whole nother big basin of water for a waterfall. But what we did was this thing drained from left to right. I think there was actually like a man-made ditch here, potentially. It's tough to say precisely, but we dammed this up. And maybe you can hear my lovely kids screaming out there. But anyway, we dammed this thing up and dug this ditch over to this other pond that we also made. And the idea is I got a pipe that's buried from this pond down to the food plot. In fact, it comes out right where basically you can see this ditch here. And I got a device or a water control structure so I can open that thing and close it. The concept is summertime, hopefully this is dried out enough where I can plant a food plot. And late summer, early fall, I can come up to my water control structure here, open it up, and basically use my huge reservoir of water up here to flood out my food plot. So that's the basic overlay of this project that's been in the works for a number of years. Now, I had some challenges building this berm because I didn't know what the hell I was doing, basically. Just learning by trial and error, and it's just the way it goes sometimes. But long story short, I had some leaks in this. My initial water control structures weren't working that good, so I had to kind of redo some things. I eliminated one water control structure. I had two previously, now I just have one. But what really excites me about this picture is this is early spring when all the snow melted, and we had record snowfall last year in Minnesota. Look how much water is in this thing. I mean, this is incredible. This really tells me that there's promise, and the repairs that we did were working. This thing's holding water. So long story short, I'm super excited about this. Let me just get, I think it holds great potential. Frankly, what needs to get done here still? Let me just go back up. The main thing that I need to work on, there's a lot of kind of fine tuning, like this ditch needs to be kind of cleaned up better, and I got a culvert here that needs some work because I got a road right here. But this dam is leaking. There's no question. It keeps washing out, and I think what I'm going to have to do is get up there with an excavator, skid loader, and I probably should rent. I think they call it a sheep's foot compactor to get this thing to seal up, because the problem is it's washing out. So this big reservoir right here, it's holding water, but it's slowly draining off through washout here. So anyway, being way more long-winded than I was anticipating, here is an aerial photograph of the big project up north. Again, you can see the berm and where the food plot's going to be, the reservoir, the whole 9 yards. And this tells me that we're on the right track. I just got to make the time to get up there and finish things out. Now, hey, the one other thing I'll mention here, try to keep this shorter. More recently, I was doing some work close to home. So here's my place up here. We live on like 35 acres, but I got this huge swamp down here. And look at the things, mostly dry with the exception of this little corner. And the reason for that is this thing, historically, somebody ditched it out and drained it, obviously for agricultural purposes. But we closed the ditch, we put a water control structure in there. This picture's from 2020. Take a look at how this thing looked early this spring. The thing was completely full of water. It was awesome. I mean, there were so many ducks back there. It was great. We ended up having another summer of drought, basically. So the water level gradually went down, down, down. We ended up having some rain late in the season, started filling back up again. But basically, my plan for this, it's worked. It's not always holding water. It really is dependent on how dry conditions are. But I did do some duck hunting a couple times right out the backyard, basically, out in the swamp here. And there are so many wood ducks in this thing. I'm telling you guys, I mean, if you do not have your gun in your hand ready to shoot, the ducks are landed before before you even can fire a shot. So my dog is looking at me like, what the hell are you doing, basically? So it was a lot of fun. So long story short, my little project here closer to home has been a tremendous success. Guys, if you can find a pond or a slough that was drained out historically, plug the ditch, get a water control structure in there, you can have yourself an awesome hunting setup. All right, guys, well, that's basically the update. Look, I am hopeful that I can get back into these projects in the not-so-distant future. I promised my wife I'd build her a riding arena for her horses. That's her big thing. Next summer, 2024. So we'll see how much time that burns up, but we'll also, keep an eye on the weather. If conditions are dry, man, I might really have to push hard and try to get a food plot in up at the primary hunting spot, because, man, that really looks promising how the water was holding in there. But anyway, that's the update, guys. Thanks for watching. See you next time.